Hey there, it's Jenny from Southern Savers. I want to help you meal plan. We're doing a lot of cooking from home, and sometimes just what's for dinner is probably the most overwhelming part of your day. So getting a meal plan is huge, not only for some stress relief, but for saving money. If you have a plan on what you're going to eat for the next week, it's going to save you from running to the store to get needed ingredients. It's also going to help you eat what you have and not waste food. So here's a few tips to help you get started with that. Number one, I want you to plan based on what's in your pantry, what you need to eat up, or what's on sale. So if you don't have a pantry to eat from, then you need to be focused on your weekly ad, looking at what's on sale and trying to plan, you know what, hamburgers on sale, and going from the items that we have, the produce that we have. If you have a stocked pantry, or for us, we're part of a produce co-op, then you're gonna plan your meals based on what you already have on hand, or for me, what I need to eat up. So we're part of a produce co-op. Today is co-op day. I've come home with a ton of fresh produce. This is where I start my meal plan every week, because I don't always know what's going to be in our produce co-op basket, but I definitely don't want this produce to go to waste. So some of it, it's a lot, will get frozen and put up in the freezer, but the rest of it will tuck into the fridge and will work into this week and next week's meals. I really only plan 1 week at a time though, so that's tip number 2. Don't go overboard here. If meal planning is not something that you've been doing regularly, trying to tackle a whole month's worth of meals is going to overwhelm you, and you're probably going to be erasing and moving things by like day 4. So don't do that. Let's do 1 week at a time as you sit down and you start to map out your meals. So for me, I look at these and I say, okay, we need to have a meal that's going to use corn. We need to have some salads, and we need to kind of go from there. So obviously these are our sides, but I'm still going to sit down and plan meals that are going to use those sides. We will do soups to use up things. You get the idea of where we're going. So plan based on what you have on hand, 1 week at a time. Tip number 3, I want you to focus on reusing meats. I know that sounds a little strange, but as you're planning out a week's worth of meals and you've got something that's gonna call for ground beef on Tuesday, why not go ahead and plan a meal that's also gonna call for ground beef on Thursday? And now, as I'm cooking meat on Tuesday, I just cook extra and I throw it in the freezer or the fridge. I've got my meat cooked for Thursday night. Thursday night just got so much faster because half the work was done earlier in the week. I love to do this. We tend to rotate mostly between ground beef and chicken in our house, but we definitely will focus on a meal that can flow in and help another night's meal that week. An example for us, just in the past week, we did breakfast for dinner one night just so that we could cook extra bacon, which was an ingredient for the next night's meal going on top of chicken. So just thinking small, but you save yourself so much time from not having to fry bacon 2 nights in a row. You did it, you put the extra up, and you're set for another meal. One other tip when it comes to meat is how can I reuse that meat for leftovers? So if I'm already planning one meal that requires chicken, maybe I cook extra that night. An example for us is just baking some chicken or grilling chicken. Cook some extra intentionally, and what a great thing to then spin into fajitas or chicken enchiladas. You can even put it into casseroles. So doing that work ahead of time, intentionally double cooking your meat again, basically as leftovers. Instead of letting the whole family eat it for lunch, you're gonna have to guard these. No one gets to eat it for lunch, but I do have an easy way to turn it into a completely separate meal another day. You could actually just do this as leftovers as well. If you cook something and there's a ton left over, then let's repurpose it. It's a great way to have just a different meal, but without the work of having to do all of that cooking on that meat again another night. As you're planning out your entrees, I encourage you to also plan your sides. This is where my produce comes in. This way though, if you do have fresh produce or you're focusing on what's on sale, you don't forget to use it. Because by the time I tuck this away into the fridge, there are things that get put into the back corners and you forget that they're there. But if you went ahead, you wrote them down on your meal plan that, hey, tonight we're gonna have grilled chicken and corn on the cob and fresh broccoli, then I know to dig those things out of the fridge. Always plan your sides. I think too, in the state that where we're currently in, food in the grocery store can be slim. This is also gonna help you make sure that you have what you need to fully make those meals as well. Whether you're eating from the pantry or you're grabbing it at the store, plan your sides. It's just gonna save you some frustration and some time in the end. 2 more tips for you. One more that is big for me, saves a lot of time and frustration. Only add 1 new recipe a week. New recipes, not only do you not know how to cook them, so they take you more time to get on the table, they also tend to call for ingredients that you may not have on hand. So they're actually gonna be the most expensive items on your weekly meal plan. If you're trying to save money, items that you don't have on hand, I have to purchase at the store, odds are they're not on sale. So you're gonna pay top dollar for those ingredients. You see where this meal's going. I'm not saying you never cook anything that you've not tried before, but just 1 new recipe a week so that you're not overdoing how much is getting put onto your grocery list that's not on sale, and you're not overdoing the amount of time that a new recipe is going to take. In our house, with a number of small kids, I'm also not going to be throwing a curveball at them because they may or may not like it, and now I've wasted a lot of time for grumpy people. They're still gonna eat it. That's how it works around here, but I'd prefer to only go through that frustration 1 night a week. So 1 extra meal a week. And then lastly, and this is sometimes the most important, when you are making a meal plan, once you've made it, and guys, this is just a piece of printer paper, we don't need to go fancy. Once you've made it, put it front and center. So ours is right on the fridge. It's there so that first off, no one asks me all week long, what's for dinner tonight? But second, if someone else wants to jump in and help cook, hopefully you've got that in your house, they can. They know what mama's plan is. So my 15-year-olds want to jump in and start prepping dinner, my husband, everyone knows what the plan is. Front and center, it's gonna help you to stick with it, and it's gonna make some other people maybe ask you a few less questions. So there you go, guys, 6 tips to help you start meal planning. Start small, keep it focused on what you have on hand so that you're using your items up, you're wasting less food, and hopefully it's gonna make cooking dinner a little less time consuming because you don't waste that time of wondering what in the world should I cook for dinner tonight. I hope that helps you. Also make sure to tune in for other videos and subscribe so that you can catch them as we post them.